The heat, the C, the fire, the vibe, the bomb, the songs, the ohms. For God, this a generation. For God, we are a generation. For God, you can see it in my eyes.
Alright, y'all, welcome to HFOG TV Warrior Wednesday. My name is Juke from JUKWorld.com, as well as the creator of the Hip Hop Gospels at HipHopHolyBible.com and HolyFireOfGod.com, HFOG TV. On Warrior Wednesday today, I want to talk about love and obedience. Alright, so I got a revelation on love. And the revelation is this. Think of somebody that you know, somebody that you love. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your girlfriend, boyfriend, etc. Now, think about like their best friend or their mom or somebody that they really care about. Now, because you love them, you love that other person. So say you love person A, and person A's best friend is person B. Now, person B is really important to person A. And so, regardless of how you feel about person B, maybe you never met person B, because they're important to person A, they become important to you. And so you're going to serve person B, you're going to love person B, you're going to treat them as if, you know, how you would want to be treated, because you love person A and person A loves person B. Okay? Now, is this not the same way that God wants us to love His children? You see, regardless of how you feel about His children, He loves all of His children. Those who love Him back and those who maybe have fallen astray and are the prodigal sons, you know, that He's waiting for them to come back home. These people are important to God. And so because they're important to God, they should be important to us. If they're not important to us, then we're not really in touch with the heart of God. Because if we were really in touch with the heart of God, if we really loved God with all of our heart, all of our soul, all of our mind, all of our strength, then who is important to God would suddenly become important to us, even at the detriment of our own selves. Even though someone may do something bad to us, and in our nature, in our regular nature, we would not like them, because we're so in love with God, we would still serve that person. And we would still love that person, in spite of ourselves even. And that's so biblical, like all that stuff, you know, love your neighbor as yourself. Like Paul says, consider others greater than yourself. God says, how can you love me? How can you say you love me and not... Okay, I'll get to that one in a second. So that was huge revelation. So that we need to love all of our brothers and sisters. And if we're not loving our brothers and sisters who are God's children, then we're not really loving God. Because if we were really in love, fully in love with God, then we would love the things that He loves, which are His children. Okay, second revelation is on obedience. So Jesus says, how can you say you love me and not do what I command? And I always looked at that as like, oh man, it's so harsh, you know, how is obedience and love tied in? It doesn't seem to make sense. But what I realized is, using that same example, if you love someone and they, just as an example, they fill the Brita filter up to the top. So you pull out the Brita water, okay? And you pour your water fill your glass full of water, and then you know it's important to them to have that Brita water filled to the top, because you pulled it out and it was filled to the top. So obviously it's important to them to do that. Well, if you really love them, then you are going to fill that water to the top because you know it's important to them. And so because it's important to them, it becomes important to you because of your love for them. Okay? So this again goes back to Jesus' commands of obedience, of why obedience and love are actually tied together. Obedience is not some, disciplinary thing where we just do it because we're told to and it's God's mean and he wants to punish us. No, obedience, we obey out of love. Because when we love someone like God, then what is important to him suddenly becomes important to us. And if it's not important to us, even above our own desires and wills, then do we really love that person? Or do we really love God? Alright, y'all, well, that's the revelation for today on Warrior Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Juke from JUKWorld.com, as well as the creator of the Hip Hop Gospels at HipHopHolyBible.com. It's the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrapped, and HolyFireOfGod.com, HFOG TV. And we'll see you next week for another revelation on Warrior Wednesday. God bless.
The heat, the sea, the fire, the vibe, the bomb, the songs, the arms for God. This a generation for God. We are a generation for God. You can see it in my eyes. The trials, the passion is real. When I'm fasting, I'm smashing you cats with the seal. This a generation for God. We are a generation for God. Yeah. Yo, I was the chief sinner, slave. I even complained about Jesus's